All right, everyone have a drink? That was exactly 5 minutes, 7, something like that. Is it just me? Or are there other people here? No, I think it's just me. Oh, good, and we can just talk for a while. Who, me? Yeah. Yeah, you. Me? Yeah. There's no one else. Oh, did you hear that? No. No, I think there's someone else here. There's no one else here. It's just us two. Really? It's just us two? Yeah. So what do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I just Jeffrey wanted awkward comedy. So, you British are so smart. I like that about you. As a country, you're smart. Because I'm dumb. Like I did this the other day where I reached into like the phone rang and I went to answer it, but instead I hung up and I still said, "Oh, sorry." Like I'm not smart, but this next man is very smart and sometimes funny. Paul Creasy. Vamp, 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 vamp.
Hello. Yeah, so I'm Paul Creasy. In about 20 minutes, I'm going to do something quite horrifying. But first of all, I don't know, this stage is it's a little bit bare, so I'm just going to do, if you don't mind, I'm just going to do a little bit of decorating, make myself feel at home, because I'm going to be up here for a little bit. First of all, here we are. Yeah, this is classic Paul Creasy for anyone who's seen me before. Bits of pink paper stuck together with a poorly drawn thing on them. So let me just put this over here for now. Where's that? Remind me of my homeland. That is down here. Some more British things. Oh, there we are. So it's this one here. I'm just going to put this on the wall. Okay, it's looking better already. It's a matter of opinion, I guess. And the final one, just to remind me of my home... Oh, sorry, wrong one. Sorry, it's this one that I was thinking of. I'm always getting those two confused. They're so alike in so many ways. When I was back in the UK recently, it's really fun when you're in the UK and you have Chinese and British money, because what you can do is you can make the Queen and Chairman Mao kiss. You can put the notes next to each other. It's the doomed romance that never was, and I'm so unhappy about that. So. And here we go. So before I get started, because obviously I'm not started, a couple of disclaimers. I love a disclaimer. I'm a bastard for a disclaimer. First disclaimer. So last night, Calvin has a friend named Hoop Jones. We're big fans of his. Shout out to Hoop. Yeah, he's just gone back home. He had a very eventful night. He came to the last open mic night here, Hoop Jones. What he did was he performed about 5 minutes of a very bizarre comedy while very drunk, in which he talked about his Cuban stepdad, referenced an 80s rap group that nobody knows about, and forgot the punchline to his routine. Later in the evening, he was, let's say, ill. Visually so, if you see what I mean. Well, this is true, but I don't think he would care, to be honest. So last night, Calvin sent me a text before we went out to celebrate Chris's birthday over there. Very exciting event it was. Beautiful evening for all concerned. Very appreciate that. So Calvin sent me a text. He said, "Let's do it in honor of Hoop Jones tonight." Unfortunately, I took that advice. And let's say I did one of the two things that Hoop Jones did when he was last at Tushuguan. I did a routine about my Cuban stepdad, is what I did. That's the new euphemism for what I did. Okay, so that's the first disclaimer. Second disclaimer. So I was talking to Calvin last night. I'm sorry to like recount all of our conversations. Calvin, I know you're in this show. You are part of this show. There was the fart noise, and now there's this. You should have got headline billing for this show. We were talking yesterday. Some of you may be aware there was a gig at Lush in Wudalco on Thursday. Very successful gig, all made possible by these two gentlemen over here. If you want to thank them later on, just buy them some drinks and things or something. You know, everything's appreciated. Oh, for God's sake, Carlos! somebody get this man laid. That's what I want to say. More often. I don't know. Oh, God. But yeah, we did a gig at Lush. Anyway, apparently some people didn't like it, is all I will say. So we were in the taxi, and Calvin said to me, I'd got this email, someone said, oh, there are some nasty comments on the website. And I didn't look at the website because, you know, my self-esteem is low enough as it is without extra little, you know, enhancements to that. But Calvin had looked at the website, and he said to me, oh, yeah, there was one guy who trashed everybody, but he was quite nice about you. Now, there's a little voice in my head at this point going, Paul, there's some self-validation here. Why don't you ask Calvin? Why don't you ask him what the man said about you? We'll feel so good after this. So I said to Calvin, oh, what did the guy say about me? And Calvin said, well, it was really kind of damning with faint praise. Basically the guy said, you were the best compared to the other comedians, but that you talked about really cliched and hackneyed comedy subjects. Oh dear, Paul. Oh, why do you listen to me? Why do you trust me, Paul? Yeah, so you can understand what I've been, you know, needlessly fretting about all day. What I will say, though, is that during my routine, I made one joke which relied on kind of an understanding of Noam Chomsky's linguistic theories. And I also made a joke which made a reference to the idea of self-reflexivity. So apparently apparently like I haven't been watching enough modern comedy because this stuff is all over the place. You can't move for it. You can't move for it. But I'm over it. I'm completely this is why I'm talking about it right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, doesn't really matter what I'm doing this evening. I'm going to perform for you eventually. When I do, what I'm going to do is, I consider many people in this room, probably everyone in this room, if I'm honest, a friend of some sort. You are, you know, as they say in the hip-hop world, you are my homies. I'm sorry, I can't help finding it funny when I say rap things in my accent. It's a terrible disease that I have. But what's going to happen this evening is, I know a lot of you have heard my stuff a lot of times before, so I'm going to try and do all new things. So it might be shit, but it will be new shit. So, as they like to say on the hip-hop mixtapes. So, yeah, I need to stop doing that. So anyway, so I used to have a girlfriend. So that's the end of that sentence. But I used to have an American girlfriend. One thing about me, I have two accents that I've always found really sexy, and that's American accents and German accents. So I told this to my friend the other day, my American friend, and he was like, Americans and Germans. Americans and Germans. Americans and Germans. Americans and Germans, Americans and Germans, Americans and Germans, Americans and Germans, Americans and Germans. Those are like the two worst accents. But I mean, I don't know. I disagree. I think you're all very sexy if you're one of those two accents. But yeah, I used to have an American girlfriend, and she was one of those people. You've probably met them. One of those people who are so beautiful that when you see them or you talk to them, you can't help but forget that you exist for a brief moment. It's kind of like, you know, a couple of seconds later you go, oh, what's that? Ah, consciousness. It's nice to know. It's nice to know that I am at this point. Oh, he's so cliched. All this material about metaphysical concepts. This guy. I'm going to post on a website about it. I'm over it. I'm over it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm completely over it. Yeah, so I was like that. And so one evening, I thought, I have to ask this girl out, but unfortunately, I'm English, you may have noticed. So what we do in this situation a lot of the time is we drink. That's basically the solution, as happened last night with myself, my tribute to Hoop Jones, 2012. So what I did was, yeah, I drank and I drank and I drank. And you know, what you do is you drink until you're either in love or in a coma, or both. Fortunately, the former happened for me. And in an event that I can't believe didn't make kind of the local newspaper, I somehow managed to seduce a girl by dancing with her. It's unlikely to ever happen again. It was a real lunar eclipse of a moment, but it happened. It happened. So anyway, so yeah, so let's get this out for a second. Get the chairman out the way. So this is upside down, and now it is not. This is a poorly drawn picture of my country. So this is the one I'm from, as you can see. It's called England. It's a nice country. It's a it's a country. It's got Scotland up here, and to this side. Anybody know the name of this country who isn't British? No, I didn't. No, I know, Carlos. I know. It's called. It begins with a W. Sheepland, that'll be it. Yeah, Wales, that's right. So if you find this difficult to remember, what you can do is imagine that Britain is doing a drive-by shooting. Now, in the UK, England is in the driver's seat, Wales is riding shotgun. In the US, other way around. Wales is driving, England has the gun. In both cases, for some reason, Scotland is on the roof. But then they've always been a bit weird, so never mind. But yeah, that's where I'm from. So I've got to admit, I do a lot of material, and lots of comedians who come on here do, about other people's countries. I come on stage and I talk about America and I make fun of it. And I know it's annoying when, you know, someone makes fun of your country without really having any knowledge of it. Any Chinese person here tonight will know this from basically every foreigner who's ever talked to you. It's especially annoying when it comes from somebody who sounds like he should be introducing programs on PBS. This guy here. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to pretty much rip on my own country, which is England, which is where I'm from. I'm not a big fan of England. I will say that right now. This lady right here, she's very much in charge. She's very much in charge of the country. She is large and in charge in my homeland. Yeah, so we have a monarchy. And basically what that means is it's kind of stupid. It's the general idea. We have a monarchy in the UK. It costs, I looked this up, it costs the British taxpayer 69p per year to keep the monarchy. So it's about, you know, around about 7 kwai. So it's not a lot of money. And people often say that, I'm the currency exchange. That's what I am. That's what I am right here. TravelX. No, never mind. That's a brand name that no one will know. So the Queen, yeah, she's in charge of the country. We pay about 69p to keep her in charge. And it's one of the arguments people use to defend the monarchy. They say, you know, well, it's only 69p of your money. Like, why are you worrying about this? But, you know, in response, I say, well, that's true. But what if that 69p didn't go to the monarchy? It went instead to building a giant golden potato in the middle of England. It's only 69p. It's only 69p of your money for the giant golden potato. It's something silly that people will want to come and look at, and it embarrasses us internationally. Unfortunately, I've undermined my own argument there because I would really like to pay 69p for a giant golden potato in the middle of the UK, if anyone's listening. Yeah, so you're getting beheaded when you come home. See, when I'm covering them, it's her talking when I cover the mic. I was just doing this, and she's just amplified in exactly the same way as me. That's the current situation. So yeah, people say that, and people say, oh, But, you know, if the monarchy ended, what would we do with all the royals? Like, they're not royals anymore. You know, what are they going to do? Are they going to get normal jobs? And, you know, to that argument, you know, I actually do have a solution, a very good solution, I think. Now, in the UK, there was a big fuss among the upper classes because they recently banned fox hunting, where a lot of very rich people dress up in crazy costumes and ride around on horses, and they get their dogs to kill foxes. And that got outlawed as like a, you know, kind of barbaric, silly thing. But what we could do is, instead of foxes, hey, all I'm saying, 200 points for Kate Middleton. That's all I'm saying. Kate Windsor, sorry. God save our gracious queen. That's a strange thing about the, you're getting killed. Strange thing about our national anthem is, well, it's not really strange, it's kind of annoying for me. The gist of it is, you know, God save our gracious queen. So I'm anti-monarchist and I'm an atheist. This doesn't make me feel very patriotic. May a being I don't believe in protect a woman that I wouldn't care if she died, type thing. But she will never die. This is. I think her mother is still alive. This is just. There are no vital signs, but she's still alive. That woman held on. Whoa, did she hold on for a long time? That's the thing. The thing about the Queen is, nobody says this, but she is actually, I think she's actually a bee. Because, like, people, like, generally, look around the world, look at, you know, civilizations, advanced countries. They don't have kings or queens, but bees do. Bees do have kings or queens. So, you know, it's just a theory. It's just a theory that the queen is a bee. But, you know, have you ever seen her and a bee in the same room together? And maybe the reason she hasn't died yet is because she hasn't been sufficiently threatened enough to sting somebody. And then, you know, one of these days, like a foreign head of state is going to visit, she's going to feel threatened, in goes the stinger, out come the intestines, no more queen. Prince Charles takes over. I don't know what he is. He is something else entirely. Yeah, and people say, yeah, you know, the Queen, she gives a speech every year at Christmas, and people say, oh, you know, how dignified she is, how wonderful it is that she, you know, she says all these words with her voice. But yeah, but you don't hear like the first draft of the Queen's speech. Like she warms up beforehand. She's horribly offensive, and people don't realise this because they're suppressing it at Buckingham Palace. I mean, last year the first draft of her speech was give one some room, I'm throwing elbows. Timberland boots, Air Force and shell toes. Who the fuck is them? If I've got to pay to get in the club, one will go pop the trunk and turn the street volume up to 10. I ain't on the guest list, I ain't VIP. I snuck in the exit, learned to DIP. My dress code is all black when I'm making a move, similar to the new PlayStation 2. The PS2 reference is a bit outdated, but she's like 80-something, so, you know, it's amazing that she's that current, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm walking across the stage. Walking back across the stage. Can't remember my material, so I'm walking across the stage. So, this guy. Guy, maybe a little bit generous. This guy, who knows who this is? Dave, man at the front. That is correct. His name is Piers Morgan. Just listen to that name, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan. What's your name? It's Piers. It's Piers. What's your name? Piers. Piers Morgan. That's how you pronounce his name. His name is Piers Morgan. And you may know who he is, you may not know who he is. If you don't, then, you know, you've missed nothing in your life. Your life is immeasurably better. You should be incredibly happy about that. Unfortunately, I'm going to enlighten you a little bit now, or rather darken you a little bit now. Piers Morgan is he's a sort of person. So last year we had a year last year. It was called 2011. It was all right. You know, there were good bits, there were bad bits. Of course, at the end of the year, you always get these lists where people say, you know, the people we have lost in 2011. You know, people's sad deaths that have happened. But they never say people who we should have lost in the last year. And, you know, like, just do a little list. Like, you know, Simon Cowell continues to inflict his so-called music on the rest of the world. Margaret Thatcher gets a fucking film instead of a funeral. And I'm never going back home. And Piers Morgan, you know, why? Why is he? Why is he? He appears on television in the USA. He's very much the USA's problem now, which I like. He appears on a show called CNN, called, I guess now it's called Piers Morgan Live or something. He took over from the previous host, Larry King, and left him to finally decompose in peace. But yeah, so now he hosts this show, and he has this reputation, mainly you know, created by himself, of you know, I'm a tough questioner, I'm a tough interviewer. But I mean, what he actually does is he crawls so far up the arseholes of the celebrities he interviews that they barely need their latest colonic irrigation. In fact, Piers Morgan moving to America was very much a case of colonic immigration. Is this thing on? I have actually had that problem before. Obviously, not at the right time, but never mind. So yeah, I mean, he's a terrible man. He's got so little charm. He makes me seem like Sean Connery. He's a human arse crack with a face like a bad smell. But, you know, people say, oh, you know, you're a hater, you're jealous, you know, you're just jealous because he's successful. But, like, anyone can be successful if they sacrifice any kind of good things in their life. Like, if they become completely worthless as a human being, you know, you can make some money. But he's got to look at himself in the mirror every morning and say, fuck, I'm Piers Morgan. I'm Piers Morgan. I'm Piers Morgan. So I win. My God, doing a material about Piers Morgan, like, I don't know what that accent is. Apparently a Valley girl has been posting on the Lush website, heckling me textually. So yeah, so Piers Morgan, not a fan, is the summary of that bit. Okay, so I've got a biological father. I know I've done this bit before. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. I've got a biological father. He's unfortunately quite a dull man, quite a boring man. Him and my mum are no longer together. He said something to me. I was in the UK recently. I called him on the phone, and he said we were talking about films, and he said, "Oh, have you seen the latest Harry Potter film?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Yeah, that's the thing. So many films nowadays." I mean, but then I was talking to my friend about this comment, and my friend said, well, maybe he means like cumulatively. Like, you know, every year more films are released, so there are more films in the world year after year. I mean, I don't think that's what he meant, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. But yeah, my dad is one of these people who blames everything on immigration. If there are no jobs, it's because the immigrants have taken all the jobs. You know, if the roads are bad, it's because the immigrants are driving on them in their immigrant mobiles and you know, breaking the roads. If the weather's bad, it's because the immigrants are bringing their own weather to the UK and refusing to integrate with traditional British weather, like rain and yeah, there's probably another one. There's probably another one. But he suffers in comparison to my mum because my mum is great and raised me and so on. And but my mum has that thing. She's an English mother, which makes it all the more prevalent. But I think everyone's mum has it, where she can take anything that you're doing and make it sound uncool just by talking about it. And so she could be talking to me on the phone and going, "Oh, so how's the crack dealing going? Yeah, yeah, it's hard this time of year. The fiends do die off. Yeah, in the cold. Still, you know, it'll get better around springtime. You'll be making a. You just hang in there. You get a good package. Everything will be all right. I used to be a DJ on a radio station at my university, if you can imagine such a thing. I was a terrible DJ. I used to call up listeners and request songs for them to play at home, which is something wrong there. But yeah, whenever she talked to me about it, she'd say, "Ah, so I hear you're a DJ now." DJ. She's from like the baby boomer, like 60s generation. Those are supposed to be like the coolest people. How did they, you know, Hendrix and the Beatles, how did they do this while not knowing how to say DJ properly? And do they say disc jockey when they talk to each other? You're a disc jockey? I don't understand. But yeah, Calvin, time check is your new surname. Like 20, okay. Good. That's pretty much how I expected it, which is bizarre. So I was with the American girl. She became my girlfriend. Oh, he's talking about the thing he talked about at the start. Maybe there's some kind of plan here. There's no plan. So the American girl was my girlfriend, and very much was, unfortunately. But in the end, she was my girlfriend. And what happened was we were out one evening, and this meant that I had to dance. Now, I have a confession to make. I consider you friends here. My name is Paul Creasy, and I cannot dance. I have to say that in front of all of you. Some of you might have thought you'd seen me dancing before. That was probably because I was drunk. That can be justification for any kind of behavior from me. That one, certainly. But yeah, I can't dance. And there's a very good comedian called Daniel Kitson. What I'm going to do here is be like a footnote comedian. If you don't like this, maybe you can see someone better. But there's a very good comedian called Daniel Kitson. Unfortunately, I had to include this bit because I couldn't think of a better way of saying it. But he's very good. You should listen to him. But he was talking about, when I go dancing, it's a thing that I do. If I have to dance in a situation, there's a dance that people do. It's the... You think of it as like, I'm not really dancing. I'm doing a satirical commentary on the nature of dance. It's like, you know, this isn't me enjoying the music. You know, what I'm doing here. Like, it's not bad because I'm not doing it. You know, I'm not doing it sincerely. I'm just, you know, saying, oh, isn't this a weird thing we're all doing here in this darkened room? But yeah, so. Something's happened quite recently. You will have heard about it in the news. It was the death of sincerity. It's been publicized all over the place. And people nowadays, people are not sincere as much as they used to be. People say like, oh, yeah, I really loved Saved by the Bell when it was on TV. I say, did you? I don't know. I might be doing this ironically. I'm not sure. Yeah, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was some good acting from Will Smith in that. Are you serious? I don't know. It's hard to tell at this point. All these things happening. But yeah, the death of sincerity has happened, and we're all living in a post-sincerity age, a PSA, I guess you would call it. But you know, there are still some opportunities for it. Nowadays, if you're going to meet someone new that you might be romantically interested in, what you have to do is you have to shout at them. Because there's a guy, an unsung hero, he came along a little while ago, and he decided that nobody should be able to talk to anyone in a bar. He was like, yeah, clubs, they play loud music. In bars, people want to talk to each other. We can't have that. We need it to be loud. Loud and threatening for everybody. So nowadays, you're trying to get to know somebody, and you have to shout at them. You have to shout everything, which sacrifices a certain level of subtlety in the exchange. It's kind of... Yeah, I've got some skills. I've got the skills to pay the bills, ladies and gentlemen. They only cover basic utilities, but they do pay the bills. They do pay the bills. So you're in this bar, and it's What's your name? Paul Creasy. You saw me performing earlier. Greasy? That's a weird name. No, Creasy. That's a weird name. And so on. So yeah, it ends up like that. I feel like even the great romantic lines in history may have been strangled by this format. Like, you should be kissed and often and by someone who knows how. Cow? No, forget it. I'm gonna go drink and kill myself. So that's the situation now. But so I was with my then girlfriend, and we were out dancing, and I decided I would debut a new dance that I'd been working on. I liked it. It was hip hop influenced, I thought. Something I'd seen in videos and things like that. Based on that, you know, I put my own twist on it, which is probably the problem in retrospect. So I did this dance in front of her, like just, you know, casually, like, yeah, I'm just dropping this in. You know, this is the kind of thing I do. I improvise on the dance floor. And she, when I started doing it, she looked at me for a bit, and she looked down at my feet. And then she laughed for about 5 minutes. Around about 4 minutes in, I thought, maybe I'm not the funky gentleman I thought I was. So yeah, but this dance, it was my honest response to the music I was hearing. And you know, in this post-sincerity age, I think we need more of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this dance now, right for you here. Here we go. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, somebody's the groove octopus. Yeah, also, like, do your feet have any connection to the rest of your body? Like, do they know what's going on above them? Tends to be the reaction people have. So yeah, I did this dance, but you know, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of the fact that I just did it in front of a room full of people, either. That will come later, after the drinking. But for now, you know, what I did is I just showed you my vulnerable parts. Usually I get arrested for that. But what, you know, it's a message to go to everyone really this evening. In this age when no one is sincere about anything. You talk to older people, you talk to grown adults, I guess they're called, and they say to you, talk about their regrets in their life. And they say the things they regret are not the times they embarrassed themselves, they made an idiot out of themselves, they did something stupid. You've had a selection of those this evening from me. They don't regret those. What they regret is the times they didn't even try, or they were too cynical about something to actually get involved with it. So what I say to you this evening, ladies and gentlemen, on the evening of Beijing's Best Brits, a competition that, you know, this is like Beijing's tallest midget. What I say to you this evening is be inspired by the ridiculous thing I just did and go out after this show and embarrass yourself as much as possible because we've got to be sincere about something and stop being so fucking English about everything. Thank you very much.
You can leave it. We're in England. Paul Creasy, everybody. Paul, I just got a text from future U.S. President Rick Santorum. He said as soon as you step foot on U.S. soil, you're going to be killed. I have no idea if that is how he talks at all. All right, let's take another break. We'll take another 5-minute break. Go there to drink, there to pee, and then come back and sit down. We got one more comedian left.